Hmm. Fingers crossed that colors match. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful match. I love it when things work out. Oh, thank you. Ceiling, thank you. All right. That was index, middle. Just watching the replay. I like to watch myself. Just kidding. I don't actually. My back is itching. Need a back scratcher. Somebody come over and scratch my back. Ooh, man, that's a strong one. Ah, okay. Never mind, I'm good. Hmm. See what time it was. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long time. I'm going on 18 years now. It's weird. Time really does fly. Realize how short life really is. It's sad, but hey, it could be worse. We could be one of the unlucky ones who don't ever get to experience life. Because there's more people that will never be born that will actually be born. Because the number of possible DNA sequences that make up a human being is so grandiose that the number of people that will ever live through the existence of Earth is a small percentage of the actual number of people that could possibly be born with their own unique genetic code. I don't know why I went on that tangent, just breaking the silence, I guess. I just told him I was been following him for the last 10 years and he just went on some weird philosophical tangent. What a moron. That's me. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, that's what happens when you're alone in your garage for too long. You start to get delirious. But I just got in here, so I guess that means I'm just delirious by default. This is my default setting. Okay. Yeah, I only ever tried because I first started off um, just generic gloves, and then I was trying to learn the ropes of like what was the what were like how are glove builders supposed to behave, you know, and so I was trying to learn those ropes, and um, so once I did my first redesign of my gloves, that's when I first started shooting for specific film replicas. Um, Gosh, I go back and I look at my first Nightmare glove. That's what it was called. Was just the first Nightmare. How unique, right? Um, and I'm so embarrassed by it, but I understand. I was learning. It's like we didn't have the resources that we have nowadays, and anyway, um, but yeah, and so I did that, and then I did my second redesign where it was a big change between the first Nightmare and then I don't know if I still called it the first Nightmare, um, but let's see. This all started. It all started in 2007. Let's see. I'm trying to think when I started offering the Hero and Avenger gloves. Then there was a time where I was doing um, I think the Dream Master, the Part 4, which was, I was never good at the Part 4. Granted, I didn't pursue it as much as I probably could have, but it was a glove I never enjoyed making. And if I'm going to do this, I want to enjoy it. Granted, I can't really say that now because I'm tired, but I have to do it because I rely on the money from this now. Anyway, let's see. Then there was the Resurrection glove. That was a joint project with Chris Grantner, where we tried to make it the best of the best at the time. Um, and then I still like the commercial that I made for that. I put so much work into that little commercial. um, and then that eventually I stopped, and Chris just kind of ran with it on his own. And then I think that's when I just decided to focus on, because I was actually starting the development of a part 3, and but just life was getting complicated. My wife's disabled, and as the years have dragged on, her mobility and ability to do things has diminished to the point where I pretty much do everything now. And So I tried to find a way to simplify everything. And I remember doing a survey of like, of all the gloves, what's your favorite? And by far, it was the first and second, the original glove, the first and second films were the top vote getters. And I remember looking around at the different builders at the time and realizing there really isn't one builder that is the go-to person for the part 1 or the part 2. Every builder makes a version of it, but there was nobody that was like the go-to guy. And there was for a part 4, it was Ken Hastings with Dreams Created Evil. He was kind of the part 4 king at the time. I forget, was it Owen Hall? Doing a versus. Yeah, there seemed to be default people for specific gloves, but nobody was the best at the first and second. So I decided, okay, the first and the second gloves are the most popular glove. I want to be the go-to guy. I want to try to strive to be the guy that, when people say, where can I get a part one or a part two? I want my name to be at the top of the list. That was my goal. Did I achieve that? I hope so, but it doesn't matter to me anymore. I still have, I have enough business to keep me occupied probably for the rest of my life. um, but um, anyway, that's just kind of the rundown of it's like, and then I've seen all the other glove builders just kind of come and go, and some in the literal sense with Brian Sills, him passing away with Demented Glove Works. That was a shock. Just other glove builders that have just kind of retired or just kind of fallen off the map. But anyway, but I'm still hanging around. So, I mean, I probably would have retired if I didn't rely on the money at this point. It's just, I was financially irresponsible, and my roommate moved out. We were renting a spare bedroom in our house, and he moved out, and I was relying on his income to pay certain expenses of mine. And when he moved out, I'm like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that. My budget should not have revolved around my income and the money he was paying me in rent. But no, I thought he was going to be here for several years because that's what he was talking about. He was talking about going to college, getting a degree, and so he was going to be here for all that time. But 9 months later, after I made a hefty purchase, I financed my car, and my car payment's higher than my mortgage payment. Long story. But 9 months after I did that, he moved out, and so now I'm like, I have a shortfall. So, yeah. Don't do that, kids. Make sure your own income is enough to cover your expenses. Number two, let's see. I appreciate it. Yeah, we found out in 2022 that she has a mitochondrial disease. It's a genetic disorder that she's had since she was born. We didn't know about it until just 3 years ago. And her brain is shrinking because of it. And as her brain shrinks, her coordination, mobility, and she's still, functional. She still gets around the house. She just has really bad balance. So she has to walk with a walker. She has really low strength. So it's like she had to wait till I came home to open a jar of peanut butter. So, but, we manage. And so, that was a shock. It certainly explained some things that we had seen over the years, but getting an actual diagnosis as to what was going on, like, oh, that explains the things. I look back at some moments in life, and I was like, why? Well, now I know why. So, gave us some answers. So, still sucks though. But what can you do? None of us are getting out of here alive. We all go out one way or the other. She's not dying or anything, but it's just, I don't know if she's going to live to an old age. as her brain continues. I mean, I don't know what's on the horizon. I don't know if dementia is going to set in at some point, or aphasia, or I really don't know. I don't know what to expect, and neither do the doctors. They say it's totally unpredictable. Every case is different, and so yay, something to look forward to, right? Change is the spice of life. Then again, something bad could happen to me. That would suck. She's screwed if that happens. Or should I say I'm screwed? Because I can't depend on her to take care of me. But she has enough, like if something happens to me and I'm not around, she'll have enough financial resources to take care of herself, or at least have her family take care of her. And so, but if I'm still around but incapacitated in some way, uh-oh. That's scary though. It's like it can happen to any one of us. I mean, you hear about these stories all the time. It's like he was perfectly healthy, and then boom, just something big happens, like a stroke or something like that. Just suddenly knocks you on your butt. It's scary that our bodies can just attack us from the inside out. It's like if only all ailments were external. It's like if I just stay inside, nothing bad will happen. But no, even staying inside, something bad may happen. So, it sounds like I'm like the forever pessimist, right? It's just doom and gloom in this world. This is a part two template glove, by the way, that I'm working on. I'm just cleaning up the fingertips from the brazing process. This is a fun part though. It's where you actually start to see it all come together. Why did I do that? Why do I do a lot of things? I don't know. looking at my video, my playback. Like I'm actively losing weight, but I can still see my stomach. I understand it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's like a spot on perfect match color wise. Love it when it turns out like that. Almost stabbed myself in the face right there. There we go. That's better. There's a lot of red on this fingertip, so it's going to take a lot of scrubbing. Whew. Who let the dogs out? Anyway, don't mind me. Shoulder's burning. Ah. I still have the whole other side of the finger to do. We can do it. We can do this. I believe in me. Because no one else does. I'm kidding. Sounds like this needs to turn into a therapy session. Well, maybe so. What's Mark doing? Just talking to himself in his garage. Dude needs help. Gosh, that red just does not want to come off. It's coming off, but it's just it takes a lot of elbow grease. Where'd that term come from? Elbow grease. Some dude just laid down in grease while working on a car. I said, what did it take? I don't know. It took a lot of elbow grease, I'll tell you that much. Sometimes I sit and just think about, like, where did expressions come from? Like, like little catchphrases and things like that. Where did those begin? What's the origin? Or even words for that matter. Just pick a random word like carrot. Who named it a carrot and why? Who decided to put those letters in that sequence? Who looked at it and said, carrot? I kind of would like to be a fly on the wall just to see how things came to be what they are, known to be now. I don't know. This is what happens when I'm in my garage. My brain just starts kind of, what if? Or how? How this? How that? You said it could be very beneficial. Um, What's the it? It could be very beneficial. Sorry if I'm not putting something together. Well, like therapy? Because I think I see the whole conversation. So I see three messages prior to the message about saying it could be very beneficial to your wife's condition. The only comments I see before that are, you've been following me for over 10 years. Um, like, found you over 15 years ago. You remember the gloves I no longer offer. And he said, all your work is art, brother. Don't think any less of your gloves. You have the different movie-based gloves. And it just says, I'm sorry to hear about your wife. God bless you and your family. And then after that, it just goes straight to, it could be very beneficial for your wife's condition. So I'm not sure if I'm missing something somewhere. Is there a comment that's not showing up or something? Really? Yeah, none of those came through. Wonder, is there a setting, like change or something? Let me see what this is. I'm changing it to live chat. See if, oh yeah, that's weird. Yeah, because I had top chat selected. Now I have live chat selected. So now it's showing all the messages. Wonder why it filtered those out. That's weird. She does take some vitamins. Um, Fulvic acid. It's not one I'm familiar with, unless it's in what she's taking, but specifically that. It permeates cell walls and goes directly to your organ, including the mitochondria. It energizes the mitochondria and the rest of the cells from the inside out. Golden medicine. I mean, I'll look it out. I'll look it up, sure. I mean, I'm not one to turn away from, possible therapies. I mean, I know there's no curing it. I know that, but it's just, they just said mitochondrial disease is pretty much just a symptom control disorder. Whereas you can't do anything about it, you can't change your DNA. But as symptoms arise, you try to just help your body function as best as you possibly can. I mean, right now she's taking ubiquinol, or COQ10, but it's ubiquinol specifically. It's the kind specifically meant for her condition. She's taking, let's see, L-carnitine. Let's see. It's been a while since I've rattled them off. Something acid. I'll look it up, but. And she also has epilepsy and a blood clotting disorder, so she has that to contend with as well. So it's not just mitochondrial disease. So she's been dealt a rough hand, but hey, could have been worse. There's a lot of people that have worse conditions. Got to count your blessings. Granted, might not be what you had wanted it to be, or but Could be worse. Things could be a whole lot worse. I mean, I look at kids who are up at the Cancer Institute. It's not, that's, up at the university here. It's like, there's kids that aren't going to live through the weekend up there. Who am I to complain about my wife's mitochondrial disease? It's like, by comparison, it's nothing. So, see, where's my phone? I'm gonna look up what she takes. I know it's L-carnitine and what is it? They kind of work in tandem. I mean, it's a condition that isn't widely studied, unfortunately. Just looking at my order history. Just ordered some recently. My brain can't remember it. It is hiding from me. Where are you? Oh my goodness. Holy moly. There's several people that are, nitric oxide, that's what it is, not acid. Yeah. She takes a nitric oxide, L-arginine, and then L-carnitine. And she takes a multivitamin. Oh, and she's also pre-diabetic. So, yeah, it's like just a laundry list. But, yeah. We're maintaining, and I'm at the point where, it's like I'm just used to the knowledge of it. When we first found out about it, I was a wreck. And I did go to therapy at that time. I needed it. But I've gotten to the point where, you just arrive to accept it, for what it is, instead of just being in denial all the time. You eventually just say, all right, now what? Let's move on. It's like, now that we have that knowledge, I'd have to scroll down. I think I'm too far scrolled up to see the latest messages. Look at that. Almost tempted to redo this fingertip. I think it's a little too dark. I think I heated it just a little too long. In fact, I'm going to do that. I hate to do it, but, and it's always, why is it always the last finger? It's always the last one, isn't it? Thankfully, that doesn't require the extensive scrubbing that it did initially. I'll get caught up on my messages here shortly. Give me a moment. Just have to be a little more gentle with the heat. if you overheat it, the color gets, you know, the more you heat it, the darker it gets. So, and I think I just went a little too high on the heat. Thankfully, there are such things as do-overs. Without having to make a whole new piece, that is. That would suck. That would really suck. If it was like one shot, you know, and you miss it. Thanks, Eminem, for that reference. Um, and if it doesn't work out, you have to scrap it and start over. I probably would have quit long ago if it was like that. A number of times I've had to start over on a piece, including on this specific build. That index finger was a pain in the butt to color. I could not get it to color right. Turns out the rag that I was using to wipe it off was contaminated, and it kept putting stuff on the surface of the copper when it's supposed to be clean. Okay. Again, I'll look at the messages here in just a minute. There we go. Okay. Oh, hello. Somebody new. Say, how's it going, Mark? Good to see you. Good to see you too. Thank you for joining in. Yes, I'm still at it. I have no life. Yeah. Ah, I just cut my glove. Yeah. My glove caught on the piece of metal on the table here. Didn't puncture though, surprisingly. I'm going to go softer on the heat on this one. A little gentler. Still might be too dark. I mean, it's very minor, and I'm not done with the weathering, so I'm sure it'll come together once all the weathering is done. Unless it's darker than it was before, then I probably, yeah, it just doesn't match. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. I am going to use a fresh abrasive so it really gets down to the bare copper. Welcome to the world of glove building, where sometimes you just got to keep doing things over again. I just don't want to lose all the red coloring on the fingertip. Starting to press harder on the copper so really get a nice scrub on it. So, because if you just lightly scour it, you know, some of the coloring is still there, and so when you go to color it again, it just gets a little darker. And so that's why I'm making sure to use some force here. Obviously carefully, I don't want to bend the piece, but just making sure I'm getting a nice, clean layer of copper to work on. Okay, that should do for that. I know. Every year it just gets faster and faster. You blink and it's gone. It's like Halloween is next month. Crying out loud. Not that that's a bad thing, but I'm just can't believe it's here again already. Can't the world stop going around the sun for at least a little while? Just hold still. Then we die. Okay, let's see if that worked. Nice bright layer of copper. Okay, just shine it up a little bit. Okay. Please tell me this is the last time I have to do this. Please. Again, going in with low heat, I'm going to go much lower. I won't say much because I can't, because otherwise the flame will go out. There. I just have some very gentle heat. Take a little longer to get the color, but fire is fire, right? It's getting there. Just a very gentle, gradual warming until it gets to the point that I'm looking for. Watching for just a very specific reaction in the copper. Why does that still look dark to me? It's almost like it's getting darker every time I do it, which is weird. Because that was a very gentle heating. It's brazed on there. It takes a lot of heat to get that to liquefy. Now, if it were solder, that's a different issue. But this is brazing, so it's has a high melting point. The piece would have to be almost glowing red for it to come off. This is too dark. That is too dark. Why? Why are you too dark? I just don't get it. It's like this is the last finger too. It's like, why is it the last one? It's like I was just about done with this. I don't get it. I don't understand you. Well, I don't know if this is going to help or anything. Brazing definitely is significantly stronger. I would say this blade would break before that brazing whatever come off. All right, I gotta clean this off again for the, what is this, fourth time now? This is why copper can be frustrating. It's like, why? I did the same thing on all the other three other pieces and they're fine. Now this one is just like, no, I don't want it. Oh. Okay. What I'm going to do is now that it's cleaned off, I'm going to go over it one more time, but with another fresh piece. And I'm going to dry sand it. So. I should try to go down the list of the different glove builders that were around when I showed up on the scene. I think the guy who started it all was Travis Cowsill of Crew Gear. I think he was kind of the pioneer of glove building, I would say, or replica glove building. And there was Chris Grantner. He was operating his top shelf collections on eBay before Razor gloves. That's where I found my first replica. It's probably laying around here somewhere. I know it's down here. I should go dig it up. I have one of Chris's first gloves. He said he just had it in his shop and he's like, "You want it?" I'm like, "Sure." Little little piece of Chris's history. I'm hoping this works. So I wet sanded it, now I'm dry sanding it with a fresh piece. If it works, then I don't know why it worked, but I'll take it. I just need it to work, that's all. This just goes to show that, see, I don't just slap something together. It's like I care about how it looks. I'm not saying others don't, I'm just saying that. One of the things that bugs me the most is when colors don't match. Because I know in years past, I've shipped out gloves that had mismatching colors. I don't know why, but every now and then I see those pictures pop up from either the guy who owns the glove or, or other people sharing old images and whatnot, and I'm like, oh, I remember that. I'm like, why did I send it out like that? You know, weirdly though, it was the pinky finger. Specific thing I'm talking about is the pinky finger was just too dark compared to the other pieces. And so it's like that pinky finger just looks, I think it was the lower stall though. Okay, if this doesn't work, then I am kind of at a loss, because that is as cleaned off as I possibly can get it. And if it doesn't work, then I'm going to have to roll with it and try to get creative with the remaining process. Yeah, that was cool yet not cool at the same time, because you know I was kind of upset at Mike about it. I didn't tell him, but you know, because apparently he was high. From what I was told, is he was up in his hotel room smoking weed before he came down because he was super nervous. Anyway, that's why I didn't say anything at first. You know, in my brain, when Robert was looking at it, Mike wasn't really talking, and then I'm like, Mike, tell him, you know, tell him what it is, you know, and he just says, that's the original, you know, and I'm like, no, elaborate, tell him, tell him more, you know. And then when he handed the glove back, I saw the writing on the wall that this is going to come and go without talking to him about it. And that's when I chimed in. I said, you recognize that glove, Robert? And that's when he took it back and we started talking about it. But I was underwhelmed with the whole situation, and I don't blame Robert, because he's seen hundreds, if not thousands, of replicas over the years, and I mean, I don't know if it's a BS story. I don't know if he knows that it's nonsense, but the story that he tells people that he has the original glove and he gave it to his agent or something like that. Um, we know that story is not true in terms of, you know, we know Robert doesn't have the original glove. We know where the original glove is. And so, sorry, I'm just trying to be very gentle with this heating. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. I think we got it this time. It doesn't look too dark. I went super gentle, just brushing it with heat. Anyway, yeah, I just remember being underwhelmed with that whole thing. I mean, it was great to see it. I hadn't seen it prior to that. That was the same day that I saw it for the first time. And I bought that video camera. That was back when 1080p was the high definition at the time. And I bought that camera specifically for that event, to try to just get as good a video as possible with the whole thing. And because I just really wanted to be there when they presented the glove to Robert for the first time since 1985. That was the last time he had seen it. And so, but for it to play out the way it did, and it was just kind of just an underwhelming reaction by Robert. Yeah, I was disappointed, but in my own brain, I'm just like, well, at least we know it's authentic. So, but yeah, it's okay. The guys who built it, because Robert's not a prop expert. He isn't. I mean, he told me that the picture of him with Lou Carlucci, Robert was wearing the Part 1 makeup, the Part 1 glove, the Part 1 sweater, which is unmistakable. I was talking to Robert and I presented him a photo of him with Lou. Lou only worked on the first film and then the 7th film. He didn't work on Part 2 through 6. He worked on Part 1 and New Nightmare. That's it. Those are the only 2 films that Lou Carlucci was the prop maker. And now if I'm wrong, sorry, but I'm pretty sure that he didn't work on any of the other later films other than Part 7. But anyway, there was a picture of Robert with Lou, and it's clearly the Part 1 attire, the Part 1 makeup, everything. And I showed it to Robert, and he goes, "Oh, I've never seen this one before." And I said, "Yeah, Lou Carlucci sent it to me when he was selling replicas of the original drawings, which I had Robert sign as well." No, I didn't have him sign the drawing. Never mind. Anyway, he says, "This is from Part 3, is what Robert said." And I was like, in my brain, I'm like, "Wait, what?" And I actually responded and I said, "No, this is from Part 1 because the sweater has no sleeve or no stripes on the sleeves." And that went in one ear and out the other to Robert. And he says, "Yeah, but the sweater in Part 3 was more tattered than Part 1. So this is from Part 3. That's what he said. And I'm like, what? How can you mistake? Because that is clearly the Part 1 attire. It looks so distinct. And anyway, I can take this off. It was at that moment where I realized we should just take everything that Robert says with a grain of salt. Because he either is just making stuff up or he's just mistaken. And he doesn't realize he's mistaken. But he's so confident in his mistake that he tells it in a convincing way. And people believe him. But it was that very moment where I said, Robert's a great storyteller, but that may all be what it is. It's just a story. It's not even true. So, which was disappointing because, like, you want to hear the stories that Robert has to tell and his experiences and things like that, but um, he either just makes things up or um, he just doesn't remember or he's misremembering. It's one or the other. So, okay, cross your fingers. All right, if you're wondering why I'm wiping my face, I just collect the oils from my skin because um, okay, this is going to work. Finally, let me compare it to the stall. That's better. There we go. Oh, goodness me. Talk about it. Tedious. That was a pain in the butt. Oh. Anyway. And he said a few other things, which I'm not going to go into detail here, but I'll just say another glove builder was not happy with me when I shared that information. I'm like, but Robert said it. I have no reason to make stuff up. I have no vendetta. I was just taken aback by what he said. He said something about another glove builder, and I was like, ooh, I hope that doesn't make it back to him. But, you know, I eventually said something about it in a comments thread or something like that, and it was a big old hubbub. They accused me of making up lies and stuff, and I'm like, I have no reason to. I remember clear as day. It's seared into my brain because I was so like, whoa, taken aback by what Robert was saying to me about someone else. I was like, oh boy, I wonder if he knows this. But that's old news now. All right, let's see. Any updates on my mom? My mom's in the hospital right now, so she had a fall. I'm just seeing if, see what I missed. Sorry, let me just get caught up on my family thread here. We're trying to get my mom moved into a rehab facility because she really needs some rehabilitation because she fell twice in one day. Thankfully, nothing broken, but she, my dad's 82 or 83 years old, or he's turning, I don't know, I forget. He's turning 83, I think. Um, and he can't help her when she falls, you know. So they, I mean, obviously she wants to go home, but it's not safe. I mean, my wife was in rehab for like 3 weeks, I think, or something like that. Um, and that was, you know, it sucks to be in a hospital, you know, but it's the safest place you can possibly be because at home, I mean, her falls just keep happening more and more frequently. And we know it's only a matter of time if this keeps up. She's going to break something and it's going to be really downhill from there. So we're trying to get her in rehab, trying to talk my dad into like give up the idea of trying to get her home right now. Okay. It's like she needs to go to a rehab facility. And I think I need to redo this finger as well. It looks like the brown coloring is coming off for some reason. So I am going to do that. Sorry, I'm not done yet. I noticed it, but I was like, is that okay? The more I look at it, the more I'm like, I don't like it. So I'm gonna just, hopefully this one will be quick. All right, so again, I started with wet sanding. After the wet sanding, I moved to dry sanding. Thankfully, this piece was already light to begin with, so I think it'll be easier to get it back to light. But whereas the pinky finger was turning dark from the very beginning, it's hard to get it to go from dark to lighter. So since this one's already light, I think it should be easier to get it to go light again. I'll just be gentle again with the flame like I was. I appreciate it. So, I mean, all the positive energy we can get out in the universe. I mean, I understand she's old, you know, and when I look at her and her ailing body, you know, it's like getting old is not for the weak, man. Getting old sucks. It is hard to get old. I've had some like deep heart to heart conversations with my parents as they've gotten older, and you know, it's like talking to them about my wife and how she's probably not going to make it to the average lifespan of a human. It's like what, upper 70s. Um, I doubt she'll make it that far. Heck, I might not make it that far, but it's going to take some adverse thing with me for that to happen. But my wife, I mean, she's just in her mid 40s and she's already using a walker, and so you know, just having talks with them, and I just said, it's like, I even asked my dad straight up, I said, do you ever think about death? And he goes, oh, yes, absolutely. And, you know, it's just picking their brain a little bit, just like, what's it like? What's it like to know that you're essentially on the cusp of your lifespan? You know, you don't have a lot of years left in front of you, and what's that feeling like? And yeah, and I told him, I said, but you guys should, you know, have a peace of mind. You know you're not going to live forever. Nobody does. Um, and but they've made it to their lower 80s. You know, they've made it to at least 82. I said, you guys have beat the average. I said, you guys made it. You guys have lived life. You know, and it's like you guys aren't getting. You know, when it's your time to go, you're not going early, you know. You're not like, oh, my life is being cut short. It's like, no, you've made it. You made it to the finish line. And so wherever that finish line falls, it's like the fact that you made it to the age that you're at now, you know, it's like, congratulations, you made it. So, because there's so many other people who don't get to live a full life. You know, like they get taken out by cancer in their 30s, 40s, or whatever, you know, and they just don't get to have that opportunity. And I said, you guys did. You guys are the lucky ones who got to experience the full duration of your life. I mean, you never want to see somebody go, but looking at it from that perspective, you know, just try to be thankful for having a full life. So, and to think, it's like I'm 40, I turned 45 in November. You know, it's like I could live 40 more years and I'll just be just slightly past where my parents are now. It's like 40 more years. It's like that is so much time, you know, of like so much life that I could still have in front of me. You know, granted, I mean, I'll be in my 80s, so who knows what my mobility situation will be like. I mean, I'll probably wind up in a care facility at some point, just because I don't have any kids. I don't have anybody that's going to really take care of me in my old years. And so I'm probably going to wind up in a care facility, I would imagine, unless I'm just able-bodied enough up until I just croak, which I hope that that's the case. But I don't get to make the call. You just play the cards you're dealt, and that's all you can do. Anyway, yeah. I mean, as I've looked around at all my childhood friends and their parents have moved on, you know, been to their funerals, and it's not lost on me that it's only a matter of time that it's going to be our turn at some point. I mean, I remember when my grandpa passed away, my dad's dad. I remember him getting the news and his reaction. Of course, I think my dad was in his 50s or 60s at the time. I want to say 50s. Yeah, 50s. Anyway, I mean, my grandpa lived into his like mid to upper 90s, and so okay. Cross your fingers, hoping for, come on, flame, there. Hoping for a good outcome. Low flame. I'm gonna go lower actually. this turns out okay. Hope so. Getting lightheaded. Whee! I think it looks good. Ooh, yeah, that got me lightheaded. Whee! Yeah, that's a little dizzy there. I'm okay. Just dizzy. All right. Yeah, that looks good. I'm sure that matches. Beautiful. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, I like it. Oh. Oh. Making sure there's nothing behind me. Oh. That's not. Oh. Good. Down he goes. All right. Jiggle, jiggle. Bunch of steel wool shavings all over me. All right. I'm sure that was fun to watch. Drink and thirsty. Okay. I need to add the little solder spills. Get a marker. My computer needs to be cleaned off. You can feel the grit on the touchpad. This is a very delicate process here. Oh, these old knees. It's harder to stand up. That's why I'm trying to lose weight. Lost 10 pounds though. Yay. Okay. Take this. Now, where's that little brush? I suppose I could just use this. I don't know where to put anything. I have to be careful not to, because there's been times where I just happen to have flux on my hand somewhere and I touch the piece and now I've got this big old freaking clean spot on the copper. It's like, when that happens, oftentimes I have to start over on the piece. So gotta be very careful not to do that. Pliers, not pliers, but wire cutters. I just need a tiny, tiny bit of solder. Just like that. Super tiny. Okay, now I need a wet paper towel, at least a damp one. Pliers. I'm oriented differently. Normally this is over here, but I have it here for the live stream. But that's putting this between me and my desk, which is where all my tools are. So I'm like, hey, I gotta reach. Looks good. Gently. Okay, so that's one. Now I need to do one on the index stall. Pulling up my reference photos, just making sure I put it in the right spot. There, that's my last picture.
Nope, wrong torch.
It's like, that's MAP gas. That's going to be way too hot. Okay, two done. Now, Ring Finger has a couple of solder spills on them that are kind of tricky. Ring fingertip. Ring tip. I have all my photos kind of categorized, like these are photos of the ring tip, these are the photos of the ring stall, the index tip, the, you know, and they're the actual photos of the original glove that I took. So they're like high definition, probably the best pictures you can get of the original glove. And I have not shown them to anybody. Okay, I lied. I've kind of maybe shown somebody like in person, like, hey, look, you know, but I've never sent them to anybody. It's like, I don't want those disseminating. Those are for my eyes only. Yes, I have to be selfish with something. All right. This does not want, the ink does not want to flow. Okay, then there's that one. It's probably a little farther down than that. It's okay. I don't have to grind it out. solder piece went. All right, I'll just cut another one. There, that'll do. Not bad at all. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's within 95 percentile. There's no way to perfectly replicate like a solder spill. One of these two is just like it's like remnant of solder. It's not like an actual glob or anything. It doesn't have like a, you can't feel it. It's just visually there. All right, solder spills are done. I'm probably going to call it for tonight because next would be starting to get into the detailing and all that fun stuff. think I'm just going to look at one last thing here. Okay. My wrist keeps cracking. All right, that's where I'm going to draw the line for tonight. That's good. We got 4 matching fingertips now. Now we're in the home stretch for this armature, because now it's just ringlets, plier markings, weathering, you know. I do have to make a back plate, but that doesn't take very long. Then it's assembly. Then I just have to do the leather. But as far as the armature goes, this is nearing final assembly point. That is still hot. There's a glob of brazing that I want to file off here. Okay, anyway, if anybody's still watching, thank you for keeping me company. It's been fun. Been a good live stream. So I'm going to call it there for tonight and then pick up another time. Probably tomorrow. Just depends on my mood, but I do need to get this done. So it'll be very soon. Okay, again, thank you for keeping me company. Have a good night. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you guys later.